Thank you very much, Sam, Tom, and now Jorasaur joining us on the analyst desk. Here we go. Game number 11 of 20. We have passed the halfway point. Cameron, it's all up to these teams and what they can do in the final 2 days.
I mean, and Reciprocity have been looking really, really good. We've already talked to... Dave already just had an interview with them on the desk, and so I'm confident that they can keep this up. There were a lot of questions about this squad. They have consistently, maybe not consistently, but since their formation, they were kind of not living up to expectations. And so, but maybe now it may be a little delayed, but I guess they're finally performing at the level that not only their org that picked them up, but also their fans and they themselves expected them to be able to do. That being said, this isn't the PEL. This is only the promotional tournament. There are 13 teams rather, that are from contenders. But even just look at the final weeks of PEL. They performed very, very well then. And so even if it was a long time coming, now we're here, and I expect to see them to continue to perform.
Yeah, Reciprocity, they've always been a hot topic. I mean, pulling 4 of the top players from the European region that had previously left their teams and then aggregating them rather, into a new team. Sometimes you can have those issues, but it seems like they've at least come out of it, and they have had a strong performance so far through the promotionals. With the playing path, though, going north to south. Very nice playing path, but quickly going to be diverted by that Phase 1 shift all the way up here towards the north, even center northern of water treatment. Cameron, this is going to be quite a rotation for these teams down to the south.
I am a big fan of this one. Compared to other really hard shift circles that we've seen on other maps, this one has very, very little unplayable area. There's the tiny little, I guess, like smidgen.
Yeah, there's like the border. There's like a large wall up at the top.
Well, like the full circle isn't in the map. So there's that little bit that's like literally off the map, but there's no unreachable cliff. There's no water here. So for the most part, this is really playable. The one rough part about this circle is that the circle is a hard shift on where the plane started. So AVANGAR, no tag, they have huge advantage, not only because they're looting in the circle, but they've been looting longer than everyone else. Zoekt and Naam, all the way at the very bottom, they started looting their loot cycle after everyone else did because they had to wait the longest, and now they're going to have to travel the longest as well. That's just doubly bad for them.
Especially when you consider how many teams will be coming from those southern locations. The southern portion of Phase number 1 is going to be absolutely crowded, and teams will start to employ some very far rotations around the western and eastern edges to try to enter in off of those northern angles.
Well, that's the trade-off, is that this circle actually has a lot of reasonable access into it. So it's more just the timings with the blue that's the greater concern for a lot of these teams.
As we are taking a look, Beşiktaş going to be looting up in the Chuma-Sera area. Really no one shifting off of their previous game strategies. No one going to be colliding early on here in this match. The members of No Team Tag, though, are kind of in the same situation as AVANGAR, like you were mentioning, Cameron. They are going to have that quick opportunity to not just loot, but also find a more priority location now that they know what the landscape for Phase 1 will be.
I mean, they're aiming for dead center, which obviously is the play to make, and especially so when dead center of this circle is on top of a hill, on top of a mountain that gives you good lines of sight. It's by the book. It's the default play that you want to go for. Now, can they hold on to it? Can they also manage their rotations out of it if there's a hard shift? There's always these questions that we have to ask.
Right. Have to be able to defend it, but we will have to wait and see also if teams are going to be crashing onto them and what location they end up choosing. They do have some hills to play off of. Certainly don't want to pressure themselves down into the water treatment area this early on into the game. Unity rotation already going to be coming out along the southern edge of Phase number 1. They're going to be one of those teams that might look to wrap around the far eastern side of this circle and secure an area, at least of this Phase number 1, where they expected no one dropped off of that plane path. That Torre Ahumada and the Campo Militar Tierra Branco area, even Cruz de Valle has been fairly empty after Reciprocity departed from that loot location.
Well, not a lot of people loot around that area just because it's in the corner.
It's like the unknown of Miramar in terms of teams that going there. They just don't go there.
There are people that actually like that area to loot if the timing of the plane is correct. Like if the plane starts literally on top of Campo Militar, it's actually a good place to loot. We've seen AVANGAR loot around that area previously, but it's also the furthest away from the center of the map, which means that it's the biggest disadvantage for rotations.
The polarized locations certainly are deadly here on Miramar, especially given the fact that transitions are exponentially more difficult than they are over on Erangel. The members of Riddle Esports going to be spotting out that Unity transition. Zenson trying to find a few tags with the SLR. Unable to do so, but the pressure is applied, and at least for now, Riddle, who holds into a 2-2 split, and one that not necessarily provides that cover fire for one another, but they have to push Unity off. They can't let them crash here, especially given the fact that they will be working with less numbers.
There's no reason for Unity to want to crash at this position. We're not so far into the event that it's going to call for a desperate situation, and we're not so far into this round that it's going to call for a desperate situation.
I'm going to be curious to see how Miramar games play out with the new patch that was at least announced today. A lot of changes will be coming to PUBG over the next few weeks, but until then, it remains at least still, I'm going to say moderately difficult to make rotations here. Enzelenzo Quickmath going to be trying to apply some pressure shots over into the valley, over to the east of his position. Desperados will be holding strong, at least in a very, very good 2-2 split across the compound, holding on to at least all angles of that area. As AVANGAR, a Nuctive, starts to approach a compound that the members of No Tag Team have been able to secure. Eros and O'Connell going to be the two members in there.
Yeah, just if you've been watching the map this entire time, AVANGAR has been slowly crawling up and kind of sneaking up closer and closer to No Tag. And No Tag are now currently distracted by Unity, who have just arrived as well. And so this could be a really good opportunity for AVANGAR to go aggressive onto No Tag if they can find the opening knocks. This is the team that needs those points.
Yeah, they're a team, Cameron. You and I were talking about it before the game started. Pretty much on the cusp of really kind of falling out of any potential of getting into the top 4 unless they have a few big games. They're sitting right around the 10th place position and will need to make big strides if they have the top 4 in their sights, which certainly they are going to be having. Reciprocity going to be making their own rotation. Raffi and his teammates going to be very far behind Shiv and Scoom, who have already entered in off of the northwestern side of La Cobraria. Quickmath going to be colliding with some of the members of AVANGAR, who look to continue to capitalize on the rotational mistake made by Tuho Juho. He makes a quick U-turn into a cactus, he flies, and then back to a shack for some cover, but he's dangerously nearby to the members of AVANGAR. He's not going to be able to disengage like he wanted.
I don't know. Yeah, AVANGAR seem a little split on their focus right now. I was really hoping that they go aggressive, and actually, well, there they go. They're going to go aggressive onto Eros. Eros goes down. It's going to be an easy flush as well. And so this is going to be really bad for No Tag, who previously had a really good position, but now that position is greatly reduced with the removal of one of their guys.
Right, especially given how split they were. You could see
Exactly.
O'Connell now going to be a solo player up there on the hill. He definitely has a lot of room to work with. Not going to see any type of aggressive push onto this hillside from AVANGAR, but definitely not what you want to have happen, especially in, although we said it, you know, it's not a terrible circle given that it's not cutting off a lot of the play area to the north, but this is not going to be an easy one for these 16 teams to combat against.
It's not as bad as that far west circle that we saw yesterday on Miramar, but it's still obviously not as easy to rotate around.
The best of two evils.
Sure, yeah, I suppose. The one good thing about it is that there aren't that many big wide open fields, at least that I can recognize right now. There are certainly areas that this could shift to that'll be, you know, not the easiest to play around, but I'm hoping to see fewer and fewer field endings in this round.
The Oasis is an interesting area inside of this circle. It's one that we don't really get an opportunity to talk too much about.
Yeah, you need like 3 hard shifts for it to be considered in the late game.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, exactly. Reciprocity going to be at least lining one of their players up there, Shiv on the western side, as Vitality now starts to at least see the members of 7 crashing into their compound. This is very aggressive for how early into the game this is, but they want to be taking it, and Shadow 1K already the recipient of a few tags of damage, going to be dropping him down to about 80% health as the third-party tags come in. I believe that's Ferrari Breach off in the distance. That is going to be applying some pressure, and a quick departure going to be coming out from Crema and Shada as they retreat back up to Jazza. Nasus plays on the hillside. Riddle Esports going to be able to find a tag on a Jazza. Jazza now under fire from multiple squads.
Yeah, the problem with Vitality right now is that at the same time that they got approached by 7, Riddle started shooting at them off in the distance, so the 2 members on the north on the hillside couldn't support as easily. Luckily, they were able to get out of there without taking any casualties from 7, but definitely a good push. But hey, talking about hard shifts up towards the north, Oasis is still involved.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, technically this isn't a hard shift, but given that none of the area is playable up there to the north, it pretty much is. GamerLegion continuing around the northern side of the Oasis area. They were able to avoid the likes of Reciprocity and will be finding themselves entering into a fairly open part of phase number 2. That's going to be free reign for them to at least lock down a compound and then protect on from there. Feck's going to be at least scouting off in the distance, trying to make sure anything down to the south will be clear. I'm not sure if they spotted that crate, but boy, would that be a huge pickup in the early game.
They absolutely spotted it, but I think Shiv is going to get there first. Ferrari Breaches are going to have to rotate through water treatment, trying to get closer to center, where No Tag and AVANGAR's position only got even stronger with this circle movement. Vitality here as well, and they're hearing the vehicles. You can see the nades already come out.
Try to pressure this down as the members of Desperados roll into a bit of a compound where Quickmath is going to be holding on to the warehouse, possibly going to be able to get some shots onto Calvin Klein as he tries to make his way into the long building. But no, the shots connect onto Fake. He's going to be dropped down to about 10% HP as we switch back over to the battle of the hillside between Ferrari Breach and Vitality. They're still seeking, at least to avoid that third-party damage coming in off of the hill of the members of Seven who had previously crashed onto two of the members of Vitality. It's going to be a triangular engagement a little bit north of water.
You can see everyone trying to fight for this hilltop because it's such a big expanse of high ground. You don't want to, you don't necessarily want to relegate yourself to committing to the low ground compounds in certain parts of this circle like Desperados currently are. And you can see Quickmath actually using the high ground to get an even better flank position on this compound. The knock did get revived on Desperado's end, but that only gives timings for Quickmath to push even further.
Calvin Klein trying to spot out the members of Quickmath. The question is, though, if he spots out the two members in the warehouse, will they assume that the other two are going to be in that exact same position, or will they expect the flank to come out? Enzelenzo and his teammate Mize could be a huge factor in this engagement as No Tag Team going to be spotting out Vitality once again. They've been able to get a few tags on this open hillside, have not been able, rather, to capitalize on any knocks or flushes just yet, but the damage is certainly being felt by Vitality from all around this area.
No Tag did not do a successful job actually holding on to this position. You can see that they're in a 1-1-1 split, which is good for crossfires and sightlines, but Vitality have gotten super, super close and actually invaded this compound. It's going to be forcing O'Connell off, and I don't know what Givit or Jupasic is close enough to assist, but Givit's way all trapped on the side. He's actually getting approached by Seven, so that's going to limit his engagement in this as well, basically leaving his teammates in a 2v4.
Yeah, after Eros got knocked in this compound with O'Connell, you would have expected the members of No Tag Team to immediately rush together and congregate as a 3-stack, but no, they've continued to be spread out, and this could lend itself to these solo members essentially just being wiped out by full squads as Seven continues to approach Givit's position from the south. They know that at least someone is going to be in that compound. Northern Lights, okay, bro, under fire as Beşiktaş, Tommel, going to be spotting him out off the east of their position.
A little bit of a prone for the heal, Northern Lights, but going back to Vitality, who have gotten even closer to O'Connell, just leapfrogging from building to building. He's going to force to prone down this broken wall. He hears the footsteps, of course. Vitality are certainly aware that he's here, and actually that's definitely going to clue them in onto that, but a nice, easy angle found up from the top floor.
Easy peasy, and that leaves the members of No Tag with now 2 remaining, and they're still going to be incredibly split up. You can see Jupasic was trying to push up, and Givit, still a solo player, now on the new edge of phase number 3. Continues to go a little bit north, off center, slightly nudged. Cameron, the Oasis, it's going to be in play here on the western side of the circle, and I would be just absolutely shocked if no one entered in.
It's going to be a position of last resort for a number of these teams. It's still too far from center to be a super power position, and it also doesn't give a lot of good sight lines around it. Here's going to be Jupasic, just finished out by Vitality. We saw for a moment him trying to refrag off of his teammate's distraction, but wasn't able to find anything by that. Good team play by Vitality, and even though you can criticize Vitality's macro play, basically, that's honestly kind of their tagline in PUBG since their formation is that their macro has been their weakest link. But they've been playing very, very well as a unit, just their micro together as a pack of 4.
That they have. Page going to be knocked down by the members of Ferrari Breach. Zoekt and Naam will be losing 1 member early on here. A team that has a lot on the line here. We were hearing their players talk and kind of say we got to do better than what we have been at least the last day. Day number 1 was big for Zoekt and Naam. Day number 2, not so much. And now we find ourselves on the very far northern side of this circle, the farthest northern point that you can go on Miramar. And, well, Riddle Esports going to be spotting out Beşiktaş. Tommel pretty much caught out in the open, too far away from his teammates to really have any big firepower from that rock side, but he's just got to wait from the overwatch position. Simsy trying to keep the members of Riddle Esports at bay, as Lux and Ultra going to be holding even more of an overwatch, just trying to protect Tommel. He might be undetected for the time being, but as Riddle continues to at least advance on this position, the question is for how long?
I wonder if Tommel's in nade range. If Simsy gets a nice knock with the Car 98 on any of these Riddle players, Tommel may be in range to just lob a grenade over to get a nice finish onto that one. I'm actually excited to see what this area of the map is going to play out like. It's almost like you take a traditional area of Miramar and you stretch it in Photoshop. And
I'm not surprised to see Riddle come up here either. They're a team that has really struggled, at least to try to find a position on these rotations, especially in the mid game. That's where we see a lot of their players come out, and, well, they're going to be pulling off of this. They definitely don't know that Tommel is that close, and he's going to be on the aggression, starting to push up the hillside. It's only a matter of a few seconds before he pops his head over and possibly spots out Klib and Zenson, but it's not going to be yet. Zoekt and Naam going to be taking casualties in the kill feed as Tommel continues to hold on. Now in the lean, over to the right, just lying in wait. The Praying Mantis is ready to strike if he's going to be able to spot out one of the members of Riddle. But as for right now, they just continue to hold onto the ridge. They're not going to take these dangerous peaks over towards Tomo, especially with the pressure being applied by the remainder of Beşiktaş.
Yeah, they don't even know that he's there. He's waiting for a knock from his teammates. It's going to be a little more difficult ever since Smithy did take that headshot. It's going to stall him out, force him to heal. But he's waiting for something to be opened up by his teammates with the long-range weapons, and he'll be there as, I guess, the 1-2 punch. The 2 in the 1-2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of excited to see. I kind of want to knock
They have
him
no
out on
clue
Riddle.
he's there.
Yeah, they have. He is definitely an unknown factor as we wait for this
Quickmath.
phase 4 shift and down to the southeast, at least slightly. It will be going, forcing our teams up to the north to have to make the movement. So it could force at least Tomo to play a little bit aggressively here once he hears the rotation coming out of Riddle Esports. No tag team, the solo player alive. Give it. He's going to be spotting another squad coming through the compound. This time it's going to be the Ferrari Breachers. Rezu gets connected on with the M416 headshot and gets dropped down and out. And now Ferrari Breachers are taking fire from a third party. Give it. He's in a position to possibly pick up some more kills here as he now has the Breachers in a bad position.
Yeah, it's actually Vitality on that hilltop that we saw them steal earlier. That's being a nuisance onto Ferrari Breachers. I don't know if they're aware that Give It is a solo player. They might go a little more aggressive onto this if they had that information. But right now, they're still trying to figure out what's going on, what their situation currently is.
Yeah, definitely a team that has not been tracking the kill feed, else they would have known and they should have aggressed into the compound to seek cover from Vitality. But they will be pushing on through the dips and valleys of the hillsides here on the northern side of Miramar to avoid those lines of sight. But as Edgekaj pushes up, he also pushes right into the direction of the members of PG-18. Diaz and the crew will be lying in wait to capitalize on that mistake. But over here in the Oasis, Reciprocity fighting against the likes of Tornado Energy.
Reciprocity are in a good spot. They're controlling this edge right now. We saw Tornado Energy have to push in last minute, and they can actually gatekeep them out. Diaz here from PG-18, though, is going to be aware, I think, of Ferrari Breacher's approach. They approached on foot, and footstep audio isn't the most reliable thing at moments.
At least right now, that's for sure.
Hey, now they got it down onto Oko, so.
2 remain now, at least on their feet, as Oko bleeds out. Edgekaj trying to get a flank around the right side of the hill. Won't be able to do so. And Nail'Up right there with the M416. He's able to capitalize on it as Unity collides with the likes of Orange Snow and the rest of his squad. Ferrari Breachers, though, will be eliminated at the hands of PG-18. Our first team to wipe out here in 11th game of the tournament promotional.
Very, very good hold at PG-18. I was worried for a minute because Oko actually had the high ground on top of them. If they weren't aware of his, I guess, existence, he could have gotten an opening knock, but they held that very, very strongly.
Recrin, a player that has at least proved himself with the bolt-action sniper rifle on his backside, will be engaging in a close quarter fight with the likes of Seven, who has been a very aggressive team so far this game. Quickmath, though, going to be pinching in the members of Tornado Energy. And it seems like Reciprocity has pulled off ever so slightly. This will be opening up a little bit of room for Tornado Energy to rotate into phase number 4 as they continue to hold outside of the edge. But over here, Northern Lights going to be breached on by the members of Riddle Esports. They're trying to capitalize, but Clip will be the first to go down as a trade comes back out onto Perfect.
Yeah, they actually were able to pull away from Beşiktaş, but they're running directly into Northern Lights, and they're actually getting the engagement.
They've got 3 down, and there's the 4th one, and out Northern Lights go. In 15th place position, Riddle Esports could be turning the tides on their performance through the first 2 days, coming into the second half of the promotional tournament, at least fragging out, picking up a nice 4 kill.
Recrin is trying to make something for him. Be a distraction while Blaston's priming the nade. 2 down for 7. It's Buster alive. I don't even know if there's a 4th.
There it is. They're able to find it. 3 go down. Crab Buster and Francario will be eliminated for Team 7 in 14th place position as Quickmath still tries to work their way off of this western edge. They've at least opened up a window of opportunity, but it's not going to be enough. Example is there. Compote went down, but they're able to at least hold on to that western edge, the northwestern edge here near the Oasis. Gonna have to worry about a few other teams in that area, but Vitality has even more pressing concerns as they face off against the likes of PG-18, who has already been very, very confident so far in this game, wiping out the Ferrari Breachers and now turning their sights towards one of our teams from the PEL Phase 2.
Ooh, remember, they actually missed that spray. Looked like he had that for a second. Nace is only 20 HP. He's going to have to heal, and that's going to give Yannick the opportunity to try and turn something back in his favor. Diaz isn't finding anything, playing a little bit too safe, I actually think, but that gives Shadow the opportunity for the flank. Nathan takes Yannick down. It's just Diaz left. He needs to go aggressive right now. He's got to make something for it. He finds the headshot, makes it into a 1v1. Spots Shadow, doesn't get the spray down.
Such a close engagement, but now Vitality has so much recovering to do to work their way off of this. How do they even play this position, making such a late rotation with Phase 5 starting to close out here in about 5 seconds when the blue zone will be aggressively moving in off of their edge of the previous phase. Compote, Tornado Energy continue to work their way in towards the east, trying to at least advance themselves into this phase, but they will have to fight against Reciprocity sooner or later. These teams are way too close together in phase number 5 to avoid each other.
I like what Reciprocity are doing right now. Scoom and Shiv holding, I guess, the access point in the circle. Rafi and Hexede are playing on the side off angle to really try and keep Tornado Energy from grabbing any sort of space and any sort of movement. Over here on Riddle, though, they're having to push even closer to the circle there, took care of Northern Lights, but now getting bombarded by Unity, by Beşiktaş, and by GamerLegion a little bit as well, having to deploy these smokes so early on.
Yeah, one of the worst positions I think that Riddle could have pulled up to, but pretty much just a stop by necessity, trying to make a car for it, but with so many angles presented onto their position, especially by Unity. Well, yeah, they had to blow a lot of utility. Actually, Shiv going to be dropped down as Rafi finds the trade back onto Tornado Energy. The grenade's going to be prepped over by Example, who tries to at least find pay dirt onto Rafi and the rest of the squad. Molotovs will be going out as well, trying to zone off the members of Reciprocity in whatever way possible. This is going to be a very aggressive push coming out of Tornado Energy, who is a team who needs points.
That nade almost ruined Shiv's and Hexede's day, but Melman, Tornado Energy had been pushing this entire time, almost dropped Scoom, but it only just gives information away. Melman goes down, immediately traded.
Rafi picking up a nice double right there as he looks for more. Example, though, on the prowl. Is able to find one, but gets quickly traded out thereafter. 3 alive for the members of Reciprocity, and there it is. They're able to find the elimination as Tornado Energy goes out in 11th place. 10 teams remain, 29 players alive, just past the 20-minute mark of game number 11.
Vitality here. With the shift going the way that it did, it forced them to actually run into the line of sight from AVANGAR. It leaves just Nasus by himself, having to deploy the smokes and run down a hill, which, as we've seen before, is not, of course, the best situation for any single player to find himself in. Givet's also waiting as the lone solo still from no tag. Haven't been able to reroute himself away from that team's engagement with PG-18, but stuck behind a tree. Look at all the shots going through that smoke.
Impressively able to stay alive, though, for Givet and no tag team. I mean, this is a squad that lost 3 of their members so early on, but he has at least able to advance his position somewhat. GamerLegion going to be spotting out a squad as Beşiktaş looks to at least wipe out Riddle Esports. They met in the northern side of Miramar a few minutes ago, and now they've reunited on the northeastern side of the previous phase. Both teams will have to move, and Riddle Esports is on their back foot. Zinsen going to be dropped down to 10% HP, trying to prep some nades, expecting the push coming out from Tomo. That could be good, as Tomo going to get dropped down and out. Hort with the M416 able to find the frags, but the third party comes out on their position. Unity finds themselves in a spot to capitalize once again, and out they go. Beşiktaş will survive to see at least another placement, but will they be the recipient of third-party shots now from Unity? And it's looking like they will be.
The problem with Riddle, with what happened to them, is that they weren't able to block the line of sight from all 3 squads at once. Vitality do go down in 9th place after a good initial series of fights that they had. They are going to go out early, but they have a good number of kills, so this isn't the worst game for them. Beşiktaş have pushed forward and taken Riddle's position, and they're going to want to leapfrog off of this to get into the circle because the blue is closing back on their back.
It's a good thing they got a loot infusion, but again, you saw all the smokes that Riddle deployed to try to stay alive a few minutes ago. What were the Beşiktaş members able to pick up? And probably not much, as Luck's going to be dropped down and out. Tizerin of Unity able to find that one, but Unity is under pressure of their own as AVANGAR has begun to at least frag out on that position. Ultra goes down for the members of Beşiktaş. That's 2 bleeding out as GamerLegion spots out the rotation coming from Reciprocity.
GamerLegion holding 4, holding into a compound. It's actually an easy position right now if they can just take care of Beşiktaş, who's actually dying to blue.
Unfortunate for that to have happened right there off the northeastern side of the previous circle, but the blue zone works its way in off of phase number 6. Out Beşiktaş goes in 8th place position, top 7. Going to be secured here, and with Reciprocity already losing 1, you're going to see a bit of a shift, but not too much off of their strategies from previous games.
I like Reciprocity's position right now. Once they took care of Tornado Energy, they push forward, and they're not expanding themselves too far, especially until they see where the next circle goes.
Yeah, I think their game plan is essentially going to let a few more players in this lobby get whittled down, play off of phase number 7 here in 30 seconds, and then maybe kick back up into that aggressive stance that we have seen them really play effectively here in this promotional tournament. Looking over towards AVANGAR, Anuktiv going to be spotted out. Shiv with that AWM he was able to pick up earlier on in the game.
Watch
as AVANGAR continues to at least take pressure. Yes, GamerLegion pushing up, going to definitely be on the backside of the members of Reciprocity. You can see the ground shake. The nade landing right next to Shiv, but at least saving him for now. Scoom going to be dropped down to 30% HP as they all try to at least remain alive. Hexede dropped down. Nice nade from Vex.
This is really good by GamerLegion. They heard the shots, and they pushed where they knew they had the opportunity to. Scoom is proning down next to a blown up vehicle. Shiv is having to heal. Does spot someone else though. That gives his position away and still makes it 2v4. A nice grenade though.
Right on top of Hamster. Hamster continues to push though, and he's going to go right into Scoom's gun. He's not able to find it, but Shiv is able to trade it right back out, but it's not going to be enough. Bjorn comes in, is able to double kill him. Reciprocity gets eliminated here in the 11th game of the tournament in 7th place position, but now GamerLegion, only 2 on their feet. They've got to rest both Fex and their other teammate immediately, and Mac and Dark will be trying to pull over there to do just that. They've got to make a slow and short rotation, but it is going to be a difficult one, especially given the size of this circle.
Well, now that they've taken care of Reciprocity, they actually can just use the rolling hillside to establish good position on this northern part of the circle. Desperados have a good line of sight onto them, but they still have to push in themselves. And they have to go into an area that's a lot more open. Similar situation for Unity on the east side.
You see Give It down in your bottom right-hand corner of your screen, trying to make the cross into the wide open. That solo player of no tag team has fought through thick and thin to get to this stage of the game. He's been able to secure placement points and could be able to secure even more here as they find themselves in at least a 6th place secured position. GamerLegion going to be the recipient of some shots, able to find a few connections of their own on the Coldamenta of Desperados, who gets connected on with a Scar headshot and drop down.
Dark trying to hit some more. Desperados are in a worse position than GamerLegion are by far.
Spray coming down. Bjorn going to be finding another connection. Fake goes down. That's his 2nd knock at least of this game. Will be bleeding out much more rapidly than previously before. Towser are going to be bombing down onto the rock. And this is Desperados kind of collapsing in and on themselves.
While GamerLegion were distracted by Desperados, Unity did a similar push that we saw GamerLegion do onto Reciprocity. And so they're actually going to have to pull off of that one and take care of this team onto the northeast, but AVANGAR also have sightlines onto Unity.
Just shy of a 3-player per team average with 6 teams remaining. Now 16 players alive as they continue to drop like flies. Desperados will be losing Calvin Klein to the solo member of no tag team. Give It continues to pick up points and remain undetected because AVANGAR is too distracted with what is coming from the north. And as you can see, Give It's position on the opposite side of this circle. He's got a rock to hide upon and really no angles presenting on top of him except for what Fake could possibly find. And as a solo player, he's not going to be doing anything. GamerLegion now under siege as Bjorn going to be knocked down. The members of Unity starting to make that wrap around the northern side.
Hamsters running up to try and get that trade. Should be able to get the revive on at least that one player, while Give It does go down to AVANGAR. This is basically inevitable happening, but up on the north, Unity's pushing, but Fex with the nice down as well as the finish. The traded nades trying to come in to drop him down. That one looked really good. Almost took care of Fex, but it did finish off Hamster. It's just Mac and Dark, and he's bleeding out fast. Fex needs to get up and get the revive if he wants another teammate.
So this is the important thing. Mac and Dark hadn't been knocked before. Bjorn hadn't been knocked before. It was Fex and his teammate that had previously been knocked. So Bjorn and Mac and Dark were at least bleeding out at the very first knock pace. However, that nade came in, did take away Mac and Dark from the game, and leaves one member for him to try to get the res on. That's going to be Bjorn, as AVANGAR directs their attention over towards the northern side of things, dominantly holding on to the southern side of phase number 8. This could be an AVANGAR game with all 4 alive.
The problem is that there's a big possibility then of the cross into a road, and there's basically a big giant open space outside of the compound before that road hits. So if Unity or GamerLegion, well, I guess it's more on Unity at this point because they have more members up, if they're able to control this northern spot with enough players alive, they could actually get an easy hold onto AVANGAR, even though AVANGAR have more players.
It's going to be a battle of north versus south here as Unity, with 2 players alive, start to line things up onto the 4-man squad of AVANGAR, who hold onto the compound. The hillside to the north going to be Unity's position. And here in phase number 9, coming up in just about 10 seconds, will these players know where the central position is? And Azran going to be making a huge charge up here to take control of the circle. This is what you wanted to see from AVANGAR.
Yep, the Unity basically lost their window. They were playing too safe, too secret. They didn't want to overextend, but by doing so, Azran is able to get up close and is going to be the shepherd to help the rest of his teammates push in.
As soon as the members of Unity peek over that hillside, even if they're able to find the knock onto Azran, they are going to have a hellfire of bullets rained on their direction. Orange Snow and Recurrent just trying to find one of the members of AVANGAR to pin down. They've got an idea that at least someone could have crossed over, but the blue zone starts to move in. Recurrent taking way too much damage from that, and he's going to be denying the points right there as Orange Snow continues to try to stay alive and will be going for the deny as well, conceding the 11th round victory over to AVANGAR.
Well, Azran actually got the final kill, so they get one.
Good pickup.
But yeah, nonetheless, AVANGAR are going to take the win, and this was a necessary win for them because when you're down in the standings as far as they were, when you find a game that is, the circle is on your loot spot, and it doesn't force you to have to move too much once you pick your initial position, you have to win that.
Yeah.
So this this is par for anyone who would have been in AVANGAR's position.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't see that happen, it probably wouldn't have been this level of competitive PUBG. And that was a great game from AVANGAR. That was a team that desperately needed to come out here in day number 3 with that type of a performance.
The thing is, though, they actually still didn't get that many kills.
Right.
They certainly did more work in the game than Beşiktaş did in their opening Miramar match yesterday with the 3-kill win.
Oh, yeah.
I think AVANGAR may have gotten 7 or 8.
Yeah, which is still going to be a good number
Which
for
is
them.
still good, but it's nothing compared to Unity's like 13, 14 kills that they had. I think Unity may still come out on top with the most points of this round.
Yeah, I definitely think so. That was an incredible game by Unity, but also an incredible game by AVANGAR. Unity in this game as well, though, able to at least push themselves to a good position. But I got to give it up to Give for being able to take his team so far. I mean, Cameron, we saw that team in that position pretty much 1-1-1 at the maybe 5-minute mark of this game, and they were getting pushed by 3 separate teams. There was no way in hell that we thought he was going to be able to survive, and that he did into placement points, and then picked up some kills as well.
He got a couple of kills there, but still, the fact that I don't know. You could, if you're an optimist, your takeaway could be good job on Give but he shouldn't have been put in that situation to begin with.
No, but it's not his fault.
So the first kill from AVANGAR onto no tag, whatever, that's fine. Like that's what happens. It was the fact that they continued to hold so separated and then got bombarded by multiple teams into their solo positions. That was the misplay by no tag, forcing Give to be in that situation.
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious to see, Cameron, is this going to be the kick that AVANGAR needed to go into the rest of the tournament to possibly get that momentum rolling? It could be.
Maybe.
I mean, this is their best performance of the tournament so far.
I don't know why you're asking me. I'm not a seer. I can't see the future.
Oh, you're not? You don't have a crystal ball? You're not
I left
a
it
clairvoyant? Couldn't get it through customs.
Yeah.
All right. But that is definitely going to be a great game. Let's hear what AVANGAR has to say on the stage with Mustache Dave.